Hi everybody and welcome to Commander Critic. Now that I've finished talking about some of the cards from Aether Drift, I want to get back to my regularly scheduled programming. And today I'm going to talk about a card that I cannot stand. I think it's the worst card you could put in a Commander deck. It's just plain awful. But I do want to remind you, if you like the content, please subscribe and you'll be notified when I post up new videos. But I am going to start today with story time. I promised it would be back. So here it is. I want to talk about my favorite loss in a Commander game. Now, I know a lot of people like to talk about their victory stories and they did the cool combo, but my favorite Commander game ever ended in a loss for me. So this was several years ago, and some friends and I got together at a local game store just to play some casual Commander for the afternoon. I was playing a upgraded Witherbloom deck from Strixhaven, and I was running Beledros Witherbloom as my commander. So one of my opponents played Etali and was able to swing right away at me because I had no blockers. Now the Etali trigger states that we all must flip over the top cards of our deck, and that player got to cast them without paying the mana cost. So as I was playing a life gain deck, I flipped over Veto. As it turned out, one of my other friends was also playing a life gain deck, and he happened to flip over Exquisite Blood. So of course the Etali player chose to cast them both. Then he did the combat damage to me, starting the infinite combo. That was crazy. I did not see that coming. You can't plan for that. And let me tell you, all the stars had to align for that to happen, because I don't think it's ever going to happen like that ever again. We had to be playing those exact decks in the pod. And I happened to have no blockers, and he cast out Etali with haste, and those cards were on the top of our decks. That was crazy, and I can't even be mad about it. That's one thing I really like about playing Commander, because there's so many different interactions, and the game can swing in any direction at any time. And that makes it so much fun for me. Now, I doubt I'll ever see that combo again, but I do think back on that game and I smile, because even though I didn't win, man, that was a fun way to lose, let me tell you. Before I get into my card, I do want to mention my feelings and opinions on the new bracket system that they had announced this past week. So I'm putting it up right here. If you want to pause the video to read it, please feel free to do so. So I think this is fine. Mostly I play kitchen table Magic, and as long as we follow the hand card rule, then we're fine to play whatever decks we want to play. The only time I think it will affect me is if I'm playing in a sanctioned event at a local game store. Now, the upcoming MagicCon Chicago will be a real test to see how this bracket system works. But even with these limitations, you're still going to find that there will be 2-tier decks that are strong enough to beat a 4-tier deck, that they don't even need to put any of the Game Changer cards in, which I'm also putting that up here as well. So if you want to pause it again to read it, yeah, please feel free to do so. Yeah, so honestly, most of my decks are all tier 3s. And I think a lot of my friends also have mostly tier 3 decks. And I think that's where the meta is going to just fall. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this card we've all been waiting for. This card is the worst. I can't stand it. Whenever I get a precon and it's in there, I take it out and toss it away. It's garbage. And that is a non-basic land, and it's Temple of the False Gods. So it does tap for 2 colorless. But in order to do that, you need to have 5 or more lands in play. So it's such a dead, wasted land slot. It is too slow, and just sits on the board, and even if you play it on turn 5, and it is your 5th land, you're going to get, what, 1 extra mana? That's so bad. There's so many better lands out there. You know, sometimes when a person says a specific word, and it makes you have an involuntary kind of reaction to it. Well, that's how I feel when one of my opponents plays this card. And All my friends know how much I hate this card, and they love to play it just to see my reaction. And this card actually has been requested of me to talk about because they all know how much I hate it. So, like, honestly, I'd rather play any Homelands card instead of this card. That's how I feel about it. It's just awful. It makes me gag. I can't stand it. Even just the thought of it just makes me cringe. So anyways, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So thanks for watching. Until next time.